be, since there are a number of related companies, just to be more specific, the company that is in bankruptcy is IPS Worldwide, and any entity that IPS Worldwide owns, okay? So just, because I know there's other companies that X-Free and other entities that are not directly owned by IPS Worldwide, okay? The appointment took place at a hearing right around the time of 2 Fridays ago, February 15th. And at that time of the hearing, let me take a step back. Just, I know I've talked to a number of you, and so some of you are going to hear this maybe for the second time. When the company filed for bankruptcy, it filed as what's called a debtor in possession, meaning the entity is still running itself. It doesn't have a person put in by the Office of the United States Trustee. It is going about its business, but it's in bankruptcy, and it has the protections that come with being in bankruptcy. The Office of the United States Trustee was not comfortable with that situation, and so they filed a motion with the court to have an examiner appointed. And then the U.S. Trustee's office selected who that person was, and that was me. Then through the judge, through the court system, the role of the examiner gets developed as to what the judge wants to see in this case, what she wants me to do in this case. So that was the hearing on February the 15th, 2 Fridays ago, in which, you know, it was almost a to-do list, so to speak. Broad, but a to-do list of the things that I'm charged with doing. And one of the items is to provide the court with an interim report, which I anticipate filing either Monday or Tuesday. And then there is a hearing on Thursday, which I anticipate that at that hearing, the court will have, and that's why I'm trying to do it at the early part of the week so the judge has an opportunity to read it, because it's not going to be that short. And I want her to get an understanding of everything that I can with regards to this business and what I've seen in doing my examination, which is what it's called. My background is I am a bankruptcy trustee, not in this case, but I serve in that role all the time. So I'm really kind of familiar with bankruptcy and that sort of thing. My background's accounting, so I'm a numbers person, and that's a lot of the analysis that we're doing. So I'm not a lawyer here looking at the legal issues. If and when the time comes that I need one and I continue to stay involved in the case, then I will hire a lawyer that will assist me and be that legal part of the team. But that's not I know enough from, basically sleeping at the Holiday Inn Express, or the Hampton Inn, more specifically, I guess. So the company is in bankruptcy. I know that there have been a lot of questions, very understandably, about payroll. I filed a motion with the lawyer for IPS 2 nights ago, I think it was, on an emergency basis, which the court lets me present things to her on an emergency basis. Otherwise, it really has to be an emergency. Explaining the need to get funding or to permit funds that I traced and explained to the court that these funds should be made available to pay payroll. From that amount that I was able to, yes.
Excuse me for interrupting, but
sure.
If people go on mute, it's really difficult to hear. There's a lot of feedback. Or do you have as the organizer, do you have anything that you can use for? Everyone could just start meeting.
I can't mute anybody. We're in the mail room actually, and I can't
But they can, right?
They have to
They
see
should be
themselves.
able to.
Yeah, everybody, if you can just mute. Hopefully that'll help. So that motion was filed as of the end of the day yesterday. I talked to the attorney, I talked to the judge's chamber or judicial assistant, and the pleading, the motion was in her chambers, meaning she has it in front of her. And so I'm sure we'll be calling back because we needed to know, is she going to do it without a hearing? We told her it wasn't more than 15 minutes. And we were trying to see, we can't tell her when to hear it. I was hoping that perhaps she wouldn't even hear it, wouldn't need a hearing, that she has the right to be able to say, okay, I understand this, and just enter an order. So I am monitoring it almost by the hour. So I monitored it at the end of the night yesterday, and first thing this morning, she hasn't signed it yet. I know that Scott's gonna call again. We've both been on it, we don't wanna upset her office, but we want her to realize this really is urgent. One of the issues that came up with ADP is that they would not give me the amount for the second payroll until the first payroll was released. So I couldn't tell the judge, allow this much for this first payroll, and then I need this much for the second payroll. So I made a decision to include in the one where I asked for the money, I included language saying that I believe within days we would have additional funds and would be able to, once the first payroll is paid, would be able to pay the second payroll, the 224 payroll. So, because I figured as soon as we can release one, ADP will give me the amount for the second one, and I put in there that I'd be before her in the next few days asking again. So just to preview it for her, what we're trying to do and why it's such an emergency, at least cover the payroll side. I assume that that's probably the thing that is most urgent in your mind about this. As far as a bigger picture of it, I will be reporting back to the court on Monday. I believe that there is a viable business here with changes, not obviously continuing to do the same thing. That doesn't change the result. But with changes, I think that there is a business here. I've gone into businesses where, and I've said that to Debbie, where I've gone in, opened the door, and said, there is no business here. I can tell you that in a minute. We close the door, we leave, and I report back to the court and say, everybody just shut this thing down and you're done. That's not the case here. We try to do our best. It's only been, today is day 10, in the 10 days to try to understand the business, the service lines associated with IPS Worldwide, figuring out the customers, going through all the bank accounts, tracing the money, figuring out where we are with funds, assessing the people who run this place, assess the people who work in this place. All of those things were at day 10, and we, I think, made in both here and internationally also. So, so I think we've done. I'm very satisfied. And there's some questions that I still have. Josh, I know Hal left you a message, so just when I figured you'd be on this call, but if you could call us when you're done, that would be great. So there are some pending things. We've been working with Mark, who's on the phone a lot, and he's been very helpful in helping us get the data that we need. So from a cooperation perspective, which I just out of in preparing to talk to you guys, I looked to see what the judge charged me with. And the first thing is the debtor is directed to provide full and complete cooperation with the examiner, and then the first thing that she says is the examiner is to observe and report to the court regarding the level of cooperation by the debtor's management and its employees in furnishing the documents and information that I've asked for. So when the judges start, they're pleading with that. I can tell you that the cooperation's been great. So if I haven't asked you for something, it's just either through Debbie, she got me the information, or we haven't hit that that step, or maybe somebody else, one of your other colleagues has been able to answer the question. I think we're in good shape there. I've interviewed people off-site that don't work here anymore, so to get additional insight into the company. And Josh has been helping me with everything that relates to IT and that kind of infrastructure, and Mark, everything that relates to data and on the company. So we're in good shape there. We've gotten great help on everything from photocopying to all those types of things. One of the things that I do in my role is to give the court a recommendation on what it should do. And sometimes the recommendations, there's nothing here, shut this thing down, make this a Chapter 7, which is a liquidation, and close out this. Sometimes it is the company needs what's called a trustee in possession. A trustee needs to run this place. Sometimes what I'll recommend is that the company has value and can really be sold not in a fire sale, as we call it, but really sold to a company that maybe has a similar business model, things like that they're trying to increase their market share. So in some of those instances, some solutions are expanding the powers that I have, which would only be done by the judge, if she thinks that makes sense. It is, for the most part, it's sometimes more efficient and cheaper to expand the examiner's role than to put in a trustee who gets paid in a very different way. It's based on what the companies are sold for and things like that, as opposed to by the hour. So we'll see. It's hard to get ahead of I don't want to give anybody an impression that I know what the judge will do, because I don't. But I would give you a sense that since I'm so close, and actually was writing the report at 5 this morning, or started to, I believe that there's a business here. I believe there are good employees here. I believe that there's savings that may be able to be done with, we're sitting in an office that's cavernous. And probably a lot of things that, you guys are sitting there going, yeah, duh, I've known this for years. So humor me that since I've only been here 9 days, I think it's a great idea I came up with. But so that's what I anticipate conveying to the court is there's a business here, there are good people here. One of the other things that's always important to me too, and I've been doing this for 25 years, is people. And so I've had cases where it's really, on a money perspective, it's been a wash, but we kept everybody employed in that town, or in that, and that's very important to the court. One of the words the court used, when I say court, it's always the judge, but one of the words that she used 2 weeks ago on Friday was, she said a lot of people have been hurt by this. She used that word hurt. So that tells me she is tuned in to the sensitivities associated with this. So my job, and what I hope to do a good job on, is really depict what is going on here, and convey to her the fact that I think there's really a viable business here, and that's, you don't need to worry about all the details of all the other stuff, but that's the big picture of what I plan on telling you. Unless, somehow I walk out the door and somebody Debbie calls me and says, every client has walked out. One of the things and one of the reasons that my report is going in so early, the interim report, is she asked me, she said, is this even feasible that you can give me this in 2 weeks? And I said, Your Honor, you just noted that a lot of people have been hurt. There are a lot of people that are anxious about what is going to happen here. So I will do the best that I can in this first interim report. There will obviously be others in the future, but I think that will give direction as to which way we're going to go. So that is a trying to think of anything else that may be useful for you. The other thing is obviously the customers, fixing things and giving customers responses to their inquiries, the sooner the better, and that's what keeps people, the customers from, bailing on us, and is when there's confusion and things like that. So generally what happens is an examiner gets put in or somebody gets put in this kind of role, and then everybody takes a breath because it's okay, now I'm more comfortable, this person is there. Because of the fact that bankruptcy is a relatively small community, for the most part I know every person, every lawyer that represents every creditor, okay? And so some of them I've known for many years and things like that. So there's some level of trust. And we also know the lawyer who represents now the creditors committee that was formed a couple of days ago. So the U.S. Trustee's office said instead of, it's common, instead of having all this whole big group of creditors and their lawyers, they pick certain creditors that make up a committee that represents the small, the big, etc., and they have one lawyer. And so that way there's some efficiency in the process. And so, so that's also hopefully something that will be a positive thing that I think has given folks a little bit of comfort knowing that we're in here and, investigations is what I do. This is kind of how I'm wired. So, I guess first, anybody in the room here have questions?
I do.
Yes.
You said that you're sent into the judge for emergency basis funds for IPS employees. Now, the Spherion employees,
Good question.
Because come
we're-
Monday, they may call us and tell
we're
us not to
funded
come to work.
until
Right.
today, and we'll get our pay next week, but after that,
Right. Yesterday we got a list of the Spherion, and there's one Randstad.
right,
I think I'm pronouncing it right, employee. And so that the reason I wanted to look at the invoice was to get a sense of what those dollars were. Because, I hear something, but I don't know, is that a $10,000 bill or a $1,200 bill?
right,
So now I have a sense, and we saw one that's billed monthly, and we saw one that's billed every week. So I now have a sense of those dollars. My thinking is, if the court, assuming that the court's, agree, either signs it or calls us in to have the to have the 15-minute hearing, then getting the funding done by ADP on the first one, get the new number, which they refuse to give me until we do the first one, and then include that and the contract, what are called contract workers, Spherion and Randstad, in the next one, and say, in this emergency motion, I need the second one. I need this for the second payroll, and then these contract employees as well. So, because we can't be in front of her with an emergency every day, she's gonna say, get your act together, because you cannot have all these emergencies every day. So, it made sense to do that one. Hopefully, if she signs it today, hopefully that's a Monday or Tuesday second, my report will go in, and then that will go in as well.
anybody calls Spherion and let them know that that's gonna happen, because I don't think they're funded, like, what we work this week, we're gonna get next Friday. If we work next week and they don't have their money, they're not gonna be happy.
Right, and look, a lot of people, and here's the other thing, there are other people here that are not part of that, and they haven't been paid.
Oh, we know, we
Yes,
know.
we know.
No,
We
so-
used to be
understand.
IPS
Right,
employees.
so that's
We
what-
moved
yeah,
this
so-
I mean, I've been
Right.
here for 15 years,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand, I get
Yeah,
it.
so I think Happy is kind of out of the, we're not even gonna talk that. So I think that, it probably would not be, I don't see any harm in having a conversation with, I'll figure out who the contact person is.
I got her business card.
Okay, at those two places, and just give them, I would assume that they know that the company's in bankruptcy. But I don't know if they know about the examiner and all of that. So we can have that conversation so they know that we're on it, we just haven't forgotten that you're there. But this is the process we have to go by. There is no other way to do this.
Well, our only thing was, this Farion says, don't go to work, you just lost all your data entry and your.
I get it,
EDI
but, yeah, I
She's got the list and what everybody
Yeah.
does. That's
yeah,
on
I
her.
have the
We went
list,
through that last
it's
night.
just,
Unless you come in and work for free
free.
like the rest of us have.
But then but
No,
then
I don't-
Farion may not make it up.
We can't.
right,
Okay.
no, and I understand with the contract workers that they may, and I call contract workers, meaning
Right.
to a company, the company may tell them, no, go to this other project because my job is to make money off of you.
Right.
And I won't make money off of you working somewhere where I'm not getting paid. So I get that they may tell them that, but there isn't anything else I can do. So if we, I walked into businesses where there are no employees. They are all gone. And we've got to build the ship from scratch. So, do I prefer that people are here and like the folks that have been helping us every day? Absolutely, because that has a big impact on figuring out A, what the plan's gonna be, and B, getting their creditors and customers to not bail on the company. And those are all the things that keep the company having a chance, look viable. So the folks that have been working and haven't been paid, that's appreciated. The folks that can't work because their employer is telling them, go somewhere else and go do something else because I need you to generate this kind of income, you have to do what you have to do what you think is right.
That her and the other one will just be told, sorry, you're out of a job. Because we originally were IPS employees.
Okay, well, that may be the case, and then if you wanna be here and assist in things, and there is something you can assist with, great, yes, ma'am.
If the judge does sign
The order, yeah.
today, when will those first set of payroll funds be in the bank?
So, this is what I was told, that, and this may have been with the last payroll that was done, that they actually went through some hoops, ADP did, and, because the funds are in the bank, and they went ahead and, like, that same day.
Right, they did the last time.
Yeah, they
Little
did.
Dropped them all into,
They can push a button right away once
Yeah.
they're told.
right, it's not how they normally do it, but they were able to do that.
They're
So that
capable
gave
of
me-
doing
That gave
it.
me some
They're
hope.
capable of doing it.
That gave me
That's what
some hope
Christine
that
said.
that there's something, and, so I have, so I'm sitting on pins and needles, just probably even more than you guys, I don't know why, because I feel like it's on me, so, for all of you. Let's, and like I said, Scott Spradley, the lawyer for the company, is monitoring it, and, the judicial assistant for the judge told him yesterday at 4:30, we will call you as soon as it's, as soon as she looks at it,
Now-
so.
If she does call a 15-minute hearing, you get in your car and have to drive to Orlando?
No, I can attend by telephone.
Oh, okay.
Scott would be there
Okay.
present. Bankruptcy is very, I'm looking to see if I
Would that be,
can-
excuse me,
Yeah.
would that be today, or would you have to wait till Monday?
Depending on what she does, I'm just looking to
Okay.
see if anything came through. But, there's a couple of options. One thing is, she says, I don't need these people to come in, I understand it, the examiners viewed the source of the funds, and just so you guys understand, the issue is, because I'm just assuming everybody knows this, the issue is that the customers' monies were commingled with the company's monies. And so, because customers are owed money and freight was paid in advance, was paid as part of the agreement, and hasn't been paid to carriers, that's what caused all this to stop. I think everybody gets that. So
Yeah.
that's what froze everything. So the way to release funds, for lack of a better word, is to explain that these monies are not customer monies, and I know this because of X. Then I gotta find the next batch of these monies are not customer monies, and I know that because of this. And it's not, the easiest process. So that's the thinking, but I know that I can prove these two payrolls. And if they, if we get through the first one, I just checked, nothing's come through
Okay.
yet. So if that gets released, I know that, and I said to the judge, there's sufficient funds for the second one.
Okay.
So,
That's a relief. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
Here's
was
here's a crap question. What about going forward? Are we good for payroll after this whole thing is?
That's a good question. So,
No more on the 7th, probably.
we are gonna know, it's
Okay.
exactly right, because the court will say, thank you very much, but thank you very much, and I'm very comfortable with you there. Is there any creditor here that wants to be heard on why this lady should be kicked out of this place? Or, okay, very good, why don't you stay in this place, make these changes you think you need to make, and, possibly, and, we need to continue to collect. That's why I asked, you're Tracy, right? I asked Tracy, I'm like, are those checks? She's like, no, those are invoices. I'm like, great, wrong thing, but, Jesse's.
Wait,
Jesse's
I mean, nobody
like,
wants
no,
to go
I'm
through
on
this
it.
every 2 weeks.
Exactly, nobody wants to go through it, but I will tell you that in any bankruptcy case, this happens for a period. I'm not gonna lie to you, it just happens because almost everything's unknown. There's generally a concern, especially in an environment where there's commingling of monies, but I just seen no case where it's been, unless you're like American Airlines or something like that, when they file for bankruptcy, they're trying to accomplish other things. That isn't this. So we are, I think for the next, I just think it will probably be, a month or two of what is this thing looking like? Is a trustee put in, and I don't know who the trustee would be, put in, and that person then starts to make decisions, and but I don't want to speculate because we could be doing that for the next 3 days.
Understood.
But I think it's realistic to think or to anticipate that this will be, as just uncomfortable as it is, kind of the reality for a period of time.
so we get paid,
And you're always
Soon.
in arrears, yeah.
and then we get paid in a few days. The next, will it be another month before? I mean, is that possible?
For the second pay period, or would you have to put another motion in?
It's already in for the second paycheck.
Well, yeah, the second one. I'm talking about. I guess
Yeah, going forward.
Yes.
Like, what was
Yeah,
that,
I
the third
think,
one?
yeah, no, I understand.
I mean, are we looking at
Hopefully, we
a
don't have to wait another month for a paycheck.
Right. I don't think it would have to be like that.
Okay.
Going forward, we're just in this,
It just won't. It probably won't be the every 2 weeks, right?
right, until things, I would use the word stabilize, until things stabilize, and then once they do, as an example, if I've had, cases that are, let's just say a hotel, and it's got all sorts of problems and all sorts of issues, and there's no money. And so the beginning of this thing, we gotta collect rooms and collect that rent. And then I work with the creditors and say, sorry, bank, I need to pay people. So hang by, stand by, hold the phone, let me deal with this. So because we're not gonna have a hotel, because that's the balance on this thing, is they get it, that, and I put it in the pleading, which Debbie saw, is it says these are critical people. This is necessary, because there's certain language that has to be in there. This is necessary. This isn't a luxury that I'm saying, we'd like to go buy or expand IT. No, this is a luxury. This is not a luxury. So it is during this period of time that you're figuring out how do we collect from everybody, Debbie was helping with every check, running reports so we can get them in banks. I've had bills sitting at the bank you know, trying to get accounts open. We've gotten 2. We need to open up 50 more. So he and I are sending emails at 11 o'clock at night going, get back to the bank. The guy's got to open the accounts. So we're trying to also get as much money into the bank from, I'm like, check every desk. If there's a check in this place, we want it in the bank. You know, the customers know that they're better off, the customers, yes, which are also the creditors, know that they are going to be in a better position by permitting this company to function, not dysfunctionally, but to function properly, and to generate the monies that will be used to pay them, as opposed to game over and then that's it. That's it. They might as well, whatever they got is what they're gonna get. And that's not, you know, they're too smart for that. That's not what they want either. And that's why there is this process. And all of the law firms that are representing these different creditors, they're all very sophisticated. They know the deal. And that's why, you know, many of them called me that day saying, hey Maria, glad you got appointed. Great, let us know if we can help. So we have some that have said, we'll find the contract for you. Everybody is in this thing to try to make their client's situation better. And obviously, you know, it's boots on the ground for me here. So my focus is on a bunch of things, and a big part of it is you guys. So yeah, a lot of things on the list today.
I was just writing down what you were saying.
Scared you a little.
I'm like, that's about a third of the.
3 more hours.
Is there anybody?
Let
that
her go
is-
back to work.
Is there anybody that, I need to write the report, is there anybody that is on the call that has any
Looks like the
questions?
phone hung up on them.
Oh
They're not
my
on there.
God.
Aw.
Because it was lit up green and now it's not.
Shall we call back in? Because did it happen when that thing
When I
happened?
was
The phone call.
Okay,
No.
so